I want to get to this. Speaking of the president, he was sounding off on the future of Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen and Chief of Staff John Kelly on Fox News with Chris Wallace yesterday. So listen to this, Anthony, and then react.
I like her a lot. I respect her a lot. She's very smart. I want her to get much tougher, and we'll see what happens there. We get along well. There are certain things I love what he does, and there are certain things that I don't like that he does that aren't his strength. John at some point is going to want to move on. John will move on.
When will John Kelly move on?
Look, I mean, it couldn't happen soon enough for me, right? But I'm just saying, like, as it relates to the president, okay, he's a lot like George Steinbrenner. So all of us that are aficionados of sports going back into the 70s and 80s know when he says we'll see what happens, that's like incoming, take cover. You follow what I'm saying? Get under the desk and see if you can wait the thing out with him. But he said that with you know, the Attorney General, and he has said that on many different occasions. And by the way, I was even there long enough for him to say, let's see what happens. Okay, I was gone before he could say, let's see what happens.
Who's going to be the next Attorney General?
I don't know. I mean, I hope it's Chris Christie. You know, I think Chris would have the president's back, but also be impartial. And I see, you know, there's some.
I just made a face.
Some faces here, but I like Chris a lot.
There's a history with Chris Christie and Jared Kushner's father.
I think they've moved past that.
Okay.
And so, and I think he's a great guy, Chris. And so I would like to see him, because I think he would have the president's back, but he would also run the department properly.
So there's this idea that the White House sort of in disarray with all of these staffing changes and all of this happening. Do you think all of this was underfoot before the midterms and this is just now happening, or there's things that have recently happened that seem to shake things up?
That's the thing that I don't get about this, because he's an entrepreneur. He's been an entrepreneur his whole life. If you study entrepreneurship, you take a Harvard case study on entrepreneurship, there's tremendous turnover for entrepreneurs, particularly when they're getting started in a situation, whether it's Jeff Bezos, Michael Dell, Bill Gates, Stephen Jobs. You can pick the entrepreneur. They're whipping through things in the beginning until they get the team right. And I think what the president's understanding right now is that, like, if you're a condo guy, you hire condo builders. If you're a golf guy, you hire golf course builders. He thought, okay, I'm going into the government, and I hire government builders. And so what ended up happening there is a lot of those people were not very loyal to him or his agenda. And so now he's got to shift the deck and reshuffle the deck to people that are going to be more loyal to him.
So who's going to be the chief of staff, a budget guy? Do you think it'll be Mick Mulvaney?
I don't know. I like him a lot. I think he would be great. Somebody mentioned Nick Ayers, who's the vice president, chief of staff. I got to know him reasonably well as well. I like him as well. Maybe the fact that I said that I like both those guys, a kiss of death for both of them, they're probably going to call me later and say, stop talking about me on TV. I don't know, but I like both those guys.
Your experience, I understand that
PhD.
The PhD, you kind of wanted it to go a little longer than 11 days. But
yeah, I thought I was going to make it longer than a carton of milk, Jim. But,
but stepping back, I mean, Kelly has done a lot of good things there. I mean, I don't think this is
name one.
I don't think this is a given.
Name one good thing that he's done.
Well, for example, this is a White House that, despite all the reports of chaos, has remained remarkably faithful to the president's 2016 agenda and has gotten a lot done. When we think about judges, we think about the tax cut.
You're attributing that to John Kelly or to the president?
I would say both of them, but I would say Kelly deserves some big credit there.
We'll see the aftermath of this whole thing, what really comes out. Okay, I mean, you read Bob Woodward's book, so did I. So I mean, we'll see the aftermath of this whole thing.
No, because I want to, because that's the narrative.
He hasn't been fair to the president. I mean, just read what he talks about. Read what he says about the president.
But that's the narrative, that the president somehow needs a minder, somebody who teaches him how to close doors to the Oval Office. And I think that people who know the president push back on that.
I push back on that very hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't even care that John fired me. That's ridiculous. Who cares? That won't be the last time I've been fired, and it wasn't the first time that I've been fired. Okay. I'm a bit of a renegade, so I expect to be fired again in the future. But here's the bottom line. Okay. He hurt the morale inside the White House. Okay. And he's got a mercurial, militant sort of nature to his personality, and he's pushed a lot of people out that were very valuable to the president. Forget about me. Let's say that I wasn't, but I'm just talking about other people inside the White House.
in large part, isn't this the job of a chief of staff?
They're playing the music, brother. See that? I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get to a commercial break.
I had so much more I wanted to ask you about.
Though, before I leave, though, okay? I got to give the wave. Susan, how am I doing with the
Get
wave?
twist, more wrist
I just want to
action.
make sure. Okay.
Scaramucci.
Okay.
We don't
Holding
even
back.
use first
Scaramucci.
names. Holding him back.
Scaramucci holding back.